So this is an expanded version of that same set of words. Hello to everyone. And what these are, what this is a what I'm sculpting is the inside black or dark part of the mouth before it becomes, before it's wrapped by lips. This will be the lip texture, by the way. It's a series of slanted lips. This is extraordinarily stretched out. Hello to everyone. These both represent the same set of lip sync going on. This is the teeth being laid over this piece. So I'm going to lay this in to show you. This starts out as a regular smile, and then goes into a heh right here. To open this up a little further so you can see inside it, there's actually a bit of a tongue at the bottom there. The tongue is taking a piece of clay that has a little bit of black on it. It has a little bit of a V or kind of a separation through the middle to kind of a pear-shaped, heart-shaped thing. And the black line pushes down through the middle. You cut that open, and this is sort of large, may not be the best. Those are two highlights on the tongue. So when you squish this down really small, this is going to become the L of the tongue right here. Is a big bump, and it. So if I were to make that L, I would be pinching this. I'd start off with the tongue inside it, and I would squeeze out a little piece to create the L that goes right in here for this expression. I'm showing you parallel to how this is constructed. There's another piece of the tongue that actually is up here, which is a very faint. I'm going to go ahead and put a very faint small one. And imagine it put right here, as if it was put like right there, inside of this larger smile. This is I'm going to box this up a little bit too. So this is going to be the ha. This is the hell. This is a very wide L right there. O. Here the tongue is continuing along, kind of tapering down like this, and then it becomes just a simple black O, the simple black circle. O. And then it goes to the T of 2, which is a slightly boxy black piece like this. And then that tapers back down to another O. You can see in parallel, I'm recreating the same sorts of inner dark black mouth part that has already been constructed in both of these lines. And this lip sync has been charted off of a pre-recorded bit of words. If I were to finish this he, I'm going to put some black on either side, put a little bit of a top part over it. It's exactly what's going on in this here. Create some wider eh. For the E in hell. This is the L. This part goes over to be the O. this is the dark part of the mouth. Here's the O. And here, it's a sort of semi-scooped dark area. I'm going to go ahead and do a taper down to this is just a regular kind of unopened mouth. And what this taper is just a skinny, skinny black line, which will be between the two teeth. All right. The next part for hello to is, of course, to get teeth that go around the black. Here, I'll go ahead and cut up the teeth. This allows, should be thick enough. This becomes a sort of working texture that you have to sculpt now around. You can see I've already created the top part of it, of the teeth. There's a couple of little extra pieces I need to put in here. Like this, that allow the teeth to slide down. This set of teeth rises up, and then when it hits this bump, I need to actually, I'm going to cut it in half right here and sculpt around the bump of the tongue. This little sculpting is kind of a cut sculpt. It tapers at an angle to allow that bump to rise up and through the teeth. It's to create this position right here, that tongue. I have to keep that same bump coming in on the other side. I'm going to sculpt around it with my knife, like on the other side. And this also goes on this side. This whole piece tapers out and eventually falls away. I'm going to reuse this texture on the back side because I do have to put the teeth now underneath. This would be a way of reusing some of the teeth texture, trying to keep the angle the same. Tapers away. And you can see that this, there's a little gap there. I want to close that up. Now the teeth on the back side. Truth is that the lower jaw in mouths tend to want to move more than the upper jaw. So having these teeth go up and down is actually probably pretty inaccurate. You're going to want to force, I'm going to want to actually force the bottom to do more of the talking. So I'm actually, excuse me, pushing this top teeth downward. I'm going to work backwards now to make sure that and I'm going to cut this out to be the smile because I don't really need, so you can see that this is actually the bottom part of the smile of the teeth. And the top part of the jaw is now doing less of the motion, and the bottom part is doing all of the motion, and that's really important because that's the way people talk. But as I build this, I really want to make sure that I keep it to the sync, because this is pre-recorded lip sync. I have to slice it exactly to these numbers in order to achieve the animation to go synchronous to a pre-existing soundtrack. Sorry, my throat's a little sore. Here's some lip texture, and I'm going to cut this up to allow the beginning of a smile, so you can see that. The beginning of the lips that go around this talking the talking black that's around the tongue, and then the talking teeth that are put around the talking black. So we'll put this on top. I can simply allow it to shape itself down and around. It has to go down to the 2. Hello. This is the O of hello. I'll go ahead and call it good right there. Now, this also has to be, I want to make sure that the lines, these lines which are going against each other, it's important to look at the rhythm of the animation. The teeth are going against the opposite side. So I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom side. I'm going to make sure that if these teeth are going that direction. So the teeth are all going, oh, they're going the opposite way. So that's not good. I'm going to go back in and now redo the bottom because of that. I want the teeth to all be, in a sense, flying the same direction. So I'm going to reverse it. That means they will go the same, they'll go the same sideways direction as the top teeth. This is a little bit messy, but it should still work. And that allows the bottom texture to go counter, the bottom lip to go counter to the top lip. Let's see, this goes here. Okay. At the very beginning, it's smiling, not talking. Then it begins to talk. Hello, 2. And this is the O of 2. Now I haven't finished this, so I'm going to need a little more mouth texture to finish up the sides here. Alright. And here we go. This is to make sure that the lips are completing, covering the mouth as it talks. I just want to make sure that I've got actually a full textured wrap. This is kind of a kludgy way to do it. I probably ideally would have wanted to not just have it slapped across, but it'll work. And lastly, hello, 2. That's what all of these pieces are. Oh no, this is just hello. Now you can see it's getting a little, no, it isn't getting long. You can see this is the beginning of the EH, and it's going to 2, hello. So I haven't done the 2 yet. 2 would be a little bit of a square peg and a little bit of a tail to go ooh. And I would also want to make sure that there's a little bit of teeth on the top. These taper down both directions, and a little bit of teeth on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and reuse a little bit. I want to just make sure that they're going the same direction. That this direction is identical to that it is. So there's a little bit of there's no tongue inside this one. Now this is going to need to be wrapped as well. I'm going to wrap it that way, around with the O wraps pretty well. Hello, 2, T-O. And this is the 2. I want to make sure that the black of the mouth always stays clear as they put these two together, that there's no loss of contact between the black that runs through the middle of it. Now I have a rest position. It begins to say H, hello, hell, oh, ow. 2. I next want to throw a little bit of definition around this. Now this is a thin sheet of red and a thin sheet of black, and this allows the mouth to have a much more clean outline. I'm going to put the black on the outside and the red on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and cover it as best I can on both sides. This is good. I'm going to get a little bit more of this finish texture. This part is obviously excessive. You want to make sure that you cut it to keep it down to a single finish wrap. It's good to also always work with the bottom jaw, doing the motion. Okay, that's done. The next step is to put some negative shape around it. The first one is, I didn't quite finish this side. Just want to make sure that it's all cleanly wrapped. And then I'm going to keep measuring this because clay tends to stretch and warp. So I want to gauge the fact that the H of he, no 2, is still pretty much working. And then I'm going to work some negative color, which in this case is going to be a flesh color, around the I want to work it around the shape I've created, because I want to make sure that it stays. The pressure of putting knife cuts on it doesn't warp or change the shape of what's going on inside it. This is going to be fairly quick, but I want to take the parts that involve some bumps, and again, this is the upside down version of this. You can see what's going on at the very beginning. Here's the teeth that are going on inside. Again, this is all going this direction, but I'm working, and the reason I work this way from the is to make the top jaw not move and the bottom jaw do all the motion, just like a human jaw works. Trying to get this, I'm going to try to get a level straight bottom eventually of neutral color or negative shape, negative color. In this case it's again Caucasian flesh, if this is going to be the color of the character. That you're going to build, this is in a sense the beginning of the lower jaw of that character that goes right below the mouth. I want to kind of cup it, trying to build a kind of cupped shape that there keeps it from, and this one can be a little straighter. The key here will be to make it, in a sense, all the same height. The truth is, that's probably a pretty bad idea, that you really want the jaw to be going up and down. So if I were to really do this right, I would look at where the jaw rises and lowers and try to raise and lower the jaw and let the neck be what's the shock absorber. That's visually probably what makes the most sense. If I were to put a neck on here, that would be the ultimate shock absorber. So by shock absorber I mean that the shape of the jaw will actually go up and down to fit what the mouth is doing. And then this is going to be up a little bit. This is going to be down because it's a little bit bigger. This is where it goes up and down. So if I were to build a neck, I would actually try to, in a sense, negate that. You know, it's its own negative shape. So it's supposed to fit where the jaw isn't. Let's assume that's the neck. I would probably put a little bit of a shadow color in here to separate the neck from the jaw. In this case, you'll have to imagine that it's there because I didn't actually spend the time to do it. There you go. That's the neck. And at this end, again, I would have to create a negative shape. All right. That's it. That is. There's of course an enormous amount of sculpting that has to happen around this. But if I were to cut this open, it would say hell. It would be no talking. At right at this point, it starts to open and goes hell, and this is the big L, hell. Big ah with the open mouth. Ah, oh, two. And this is the recoil, the automatic recoil in the mouth shape. That the neck is again absorbing the ups and downs of the lower jaw as it goes up and down. This gives you an idea, at least, of the look of the mouth in a neutral position, which starts off this way. All of these shapes, hello to everyone, have been planned out. I'm trying to build, for example, very wide teeth parts here to make these sort of, I would think of them as Wallace and Gromit E's, E and T and S. Hello to every. The V is a very important shape, where it's just the teeth right here with no bottom lip. And that gets into how you shape the lips on it. You always have to be careful once you've even laid down the center part of the mouth to make sure that the after all these teeth are buried in there and all the black, and again you're starting from the center out by doing the tongues, then the black around it, then the teeth around it, then the mouth around that, and then an outline around the mouth with a little bit of red and black, and then the flesh or the neutral color, whatever color you want your character to be, around the mouth. And you build from the inside out. The key is to always make sure that you are sizing up your shape to confirm that the amount of cuts you think are going to be consistent with the lip sync that's already been recorded. I do want to explain that this is a very long and drawn out, extra long version. I usually would sculpt these a little tighter if I were to do lip sync. But what I've done is I'm guessing, and I'm going to try to shoot this at 48 frames a second. 48 slices per second, which means I'm going to try to cut, in a sense, twice as many frames as what is listed here. I basically drew this out as a single frames, and then I scanned it and Xeroxed it up or printed it up to be twice as long as normal, and that's because I'm attempting to do 48 frames a second stereo. In StrataCut, I think, is a unique animation art form in that it doesn't take that much longer to do extruded pieces. It does require almost twice as much clay, and you do have to think about your textures. For example, these kinds of texture, this rapid texture, is maybe too rapid for 48 frames a second. This is going to go by really quickly. This is probably better built for 24 frames a second. If I were to rethink the texture, I would probably want to put it on a more gentle slant. This is a slightly more gentle slant, and this may make more sense at 48 frames, where you see that the angle of what's going on is a little bit more soft as I cut it this way. This is a steeper angle, this is a gentler angle. And so the key to, to animating at 48 frames a second is to pre-distort your textures and put them embed them in a more gentle way and make the tubes just longer and more languid as you're laying them out. Then you can take twice as many cuts out of it, get the same amount of the content, the programming, if you will, the sculpting of the time sculpture. Doesn't take that much more than to do it at 24 frames. It's all the thinking and manipulation that goes into it is where the time expenditure is. And then you can just take twice as many slices. And I just think that 48 fps stereo is a much more vivid way to realize what you're looking at if you can get a 48 fps projector to actually show it, which hopefully will become standard or commonplace in the next 5 or 10 years. And maybe worth actually spending all the extra time to actually cut this up twice as long. All right, this is hello to everyone. Hope you can see that and understand it. How these parts, this would be the mouth, the teeth that go on below this, down here. And these are just basically a duplicate set to show you how I try to time out based on a series of lines and on a series of drawings. Each piece built from the tongue out to the black of the mouth, to the teeth, to the outside of the lips, and finally to the flesh color on the outside.